Gandolfini brought depth, contradiction, and humor to the complex mob boss Tony Soprano. His magnetic portrayal forever changed how audiences viewed anti-heroes and garnered him critical acclaim along the way. After the series concluded, he stepped behind the camera producing intimate HBO documentaries on war veterans and took on the big screen with varied roles in romance comedies, political thrillers, and crime dramas, where his tender, understated performance revealed a gentler side of the man behind the mobster. Off-screen, Gandolfini was famously shy and kind-hearted. Friends described him as generous and quietly tortured by fame. He got married in 2008 and was a devoted father to his son Michael, who would later honor his legacy by portraying young Tony in the show's prequel film. In June 2013, while vacationing in Rome with his son, Gandolfini died suddenly of a heart attack at the age 51. It would be an understatement to describe the loss as anything other than seismic. Gennaro Anthony Sirico Jr. had a real-life rap sheet longer than Furio's ponytail before he ever picked up a script. Going by Tony Sirico, he racked up 28 arrests, many linked to armed robberies, assaults, and weapons charges, and survived more than just brushes with the law, as his loose association with the Colombo family would have him, in his words, surviving by the skin of his balls during the Colombo-Gambino turf wars. Along the way in his life of crime, Tony landed in prison where he found a love for acting, and after his release, all roads led to The Sopranos. After the show cut to black, Sirico didn't fade in obscurity. Instead, he voiced a dog named Vinny on Family Guy, popped up in commercials and shows like Lilyhammer, and even took a final swing at acting in the sports film Super Athlete, but time eventually caught up with the once swaggering Paulie Walnuts. In his later years, Sirico battled dementia and spent his final days in assisted living. He passed away on July 8, 2022, at age 79 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. His brother, Father Robert Sirico, gave him his last rites, one final blessing for a man who spent his life somewhere between street legend and beloved screen icon. Frank Vincent, born in 1937, was already a mob movie mainstay when he took on the role of Phil Leotardo, the calculated underboss turned boss, who closed out the series with ruthless finality and also did 20 years in the can.
I did 20 fucking years.
Now, what are you talking about?
Known for his earlier roles in Martin Scorsese's crime biopics where he and his comedic right hand Joe Pesci would whack each other out throughout the films, Vincent brought a touch of authenticity to Phil that made him both fearsome and unforgettable. After The Sopranos, he continued working in film and voice acting, most notably as mafia boss Salvatore Leone in the Grand Theft Auto series. In 2006, he took on writing and penned down A Guy's Guide to Being a Man's Man, a tongue-in-cheek homage to old-school masculinity, with advice on everything from fashion to how to properly court a lady.
How about this humidity?
Vincent was also known as a proud Italian-American, a jazz drummer, and a man who never lost his charm or edge. He sadly passed away in 2017 at the age of 80 following a heart surgery, leaving behind a legacy of slick suits, sharper lines, and a manual for manhood. Nancy Marshan, a seasoned Broadway alum with multiple Obies and Tonys, was already beloved for her Emmy-winning performance on Lou Grant before she made Hearts Tighten and Skin Crawl as Livia Soprano. As Tony's cold, manipulative mother, she brought an unmatched authenticity that earned her a Golden Globe and SAG Award. She died of lung cancer just before season 3, forcing the show to rewrite its future. She passed away in Stratford, Connecticut, a day before her 72nd birthday, leaving behind 3 children and 7 grandchildren. Joseph Saravo brought the figure of Tony Soprano's father to life with formidable gravitas and nuanced power. He was already a seasoned performer due to his roles on Broadway, and would go on with this rich theatrical path long after the show took a bow. He didn't abandon the screen, but instead played Gyp DeCarlo in Jersey Boys, with over 2,000 performances, and appeared in The People vs. O.J. Simpson. He also dedicated himself to teaching and mentoring actors, sharing the lessons of his Ivy League training from Stanford. Saravo's life off-camera reflected the warmth of someone who loved his community and the arts. But sadly, his life would be cut short at the age of 66 after a long battle with colon and prostate cancer. He died on April 11, 2021. Denise BurinoQuinn brought warmth, heart, and unexpected humor to the role of Ginny Sacramone, the loyal and loving wife of mob boss Johnny Sack on the show. Denise landed the role in 2000 after accompanying a friend to an open casting call. Out of 15,000 hopefuls, it was her authenticity and charm that won her the part. After the show ended, she returned to a quieter life in Bordentown, New Jersey. Denise underwent gastric surgery and lost over 170 pounds, a personal transformation that mirrored her strength of will, and got married in 2005. But tragically, her partner would pass away from a heart attack in 2010. Just months later, Denise would too pass on at the age of 46 after a long battle with liver cancer. Peter Bogdanovich, a legendary director of the New Hollywood era, took a rare turn in front of the camera as Dr. Elliot Kupferberg, Dr. Melfi's smooth-talking, often patronizing therapist on The Sopranos. While viewers were divided on him, Bogdanovich brought Elliot a credibility and subtle humor that only someone of his stature and could pull off. Bogdanovich had already built a towering career behind the camera. He directed classics and was known as one of the key voices of American film in the 1970s. He was also a film historian, critic, and close collaborator of classic Hollywood heavyweight Orson Welles, helping complete his final film that released decades later on Netflix. Bogdanovich died of natural causes on January 6, 2022, at the age of 82. Aldridge played Hugh DeAngelis, Carmela Soprano's soft-spoken, old-school Italian father. Appearing in 23 episodes, Hugh was a stabilizing presence in the Soprano household, often offering quiet wisdom but off-screen. Aldridge was a stage giant. Throughout his life, he earned 5 Tony nominations, won a Daytime Emmy, and originated roles in Sondheim classics like Into the Woods and Passion. Tom sadly passed away on July 22, 2011 at 83, after a devastating battle with lymphoma. Suzanne Shepard played Mary DeAngelis, Carmela Soprano's staunchly traditional, blunt, and judgmental mother. She appeared in multiple episodes as a subtle but powerful influence on Carmela. Shepard was also a longtime theater coach and Meisner technique instructor, mentoring young actors for decades with her no-nonsense on-screen energy mirrored in her teaching. Suzanne sadly passed away in November 2023 at the age of 89, leaving behind a legacy that not only included 2 of the most memorable mob mothers in film and television history, but also generations of actors who credit her with sharpening their skills and strengthening their voices. John Costello made a brief but memorable impact on The Sopranos as Jim Witowski, better known as Johnny Cakes, the kind-hearted motorcycle-riding short-order cook who becomes Vito Spatafor's unlikely love interest. Costello was a former FDNY firefighter and real-life hero who turned to acting later in life. Tragically, Costello died by suicide on December 16, 2008, at just 47. Friends and co-stars mourned his loss deeply, with many speculating that personal struggles, including the emotional toll of firefighting and navigating complex identity issues, may have played a part. It's a sad reminder that we may not always know what our friends, family, and neighbors might be going through in private.